Okay. Hey, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Um, I welcome you all for this virtual VMUG. Let me see. Some people are still joining. All right. Okay. You see, hello everyone. Yes. So let's get started. Yeah. Hi. Um, um, Thanks for joining you all. I will get started. And in the interest of time. Um, you know, this is going to be an interesting global event. I've done quite a bit. I'm sure you must have heard some of you all if you attended the virtual VMA. I'm a frequent speaker there. So welcome again. Um, we'll discuss today about more about um, you know accelerating. Let me pick up my pen here, laser pen here. So accelerate and modernize your data center with Intel Xeon AI infrastructure, right? So a quick intro about me. I'm Kanan Mani. I'm a global technologist here in Intel. Um, I'm I have 18 plus years in IT. I used to work for VMware before 6.5 years there. I spent quite a bit of time in their business critical application, virtualizing the business critical application, especially during the time Pat Gelsinger. That's the time I wrote a book on virtualizing Oracle database. And some of you all must have already seen my book or heard about all those work we have done in the VMware. Those days, remember, Oracle Rack cannot be virtualized, and that's the time I was there. I was one of them who didn't believe, and then I was the one who actually wrote that best practices white paper, especially on the Oracle Rack, virtualizing Oracle Rack on VMware. So that's me. I also worked with HPE for about 6.5 years. I have worked with NetApp. So I have compute storage network background. I'm so passionate about helping our customers to deploy any virtualization or any enterprise solutions on top of Intel infrastructure. So happy to help. And I'm being one of the community, actively in the community, helping out our customers and partners. So here's our agenda. So we'll cover why Intel and VMware are better together. As you all know, we go a long ways, right? So even VMware got acquired before by Broadcom. We have quite a bit of work we have done. I mean, I was in VMware. I used to work very closely with Intel. Most of our joint customers, still running on Intel old generation, and we are trying to modernize them or getting out of that older generation. So we'll talk about why we better together. Engineering wise, we work very closely. I have, I don't know, we have daily meetings and weekly meetings, monthly exec sync meeting. So we have a joint roadmap. I carry a joint roadmap, and then our team is quite big. We have quite a bit of engineers who actually work with the other VMware engineers together. And then we'll go into like why Xeon. I mean, as you all heard, again, this is very true. Most of them think like, oh, Intel, just a chip. What do you guys do? What is the value prop you try to bring in? So we're not only chips, right? I'll cover that. So we do something like a smart chips, which has got inbuilt accelerator into it. When I say accelerator, it's going to really help to run your workload much optimized, plus a lot of savings. So I'll cover that. You'll get total cost of ownership. You get to run all your business critical application, your AI workloads, whether you're ready to run AI workload now or later, and then plus the security. That's very key. So key is, security is more important now these days, right? If you get a security at the platform level and at also the infrastructure level, and it's completely free, it's been already jointly enabled by VMware, why not, right? So now I'll point to some resources, and feel free to send your questions in the chat. Because I know you don't have options to ask questions verbally, but send it via chat. I don't have anyone to support me for the questions at this point, but I will answer the questions once I finish my presentation. If not, you all know how to reach out to me. I'm available through email, kanan.money@intel.com, or look me up in the LinkedIn. I should be able to respond to you. I think some of you all reach out to me via LinkedIn. I hope I provided the required responses to you all. So with that, Let's get started, okay? You probably must have seen this from VMware presentation. I still wanted to say this because we all think a cloud is not a place or an architecture, it's a way of working model. The reason I think this has been said across VMware and as well as Intel is, as you all know, you hear multiple clouds, and most of the focus is on the private cloud because we all want to have cloud-like model or ecosystem, but on on-prem because you need to have more control, right? So there is a private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. There's edge cloud. There's so many, or sovereign cloud, you may call it, right? So it's how the way of working and have an operating model, right? Which is really helpful to most of our the deployment that customer planning to choose, right? There are CSPs, MSPs, like government organization trying to build sovereign cloud. We'll be having multiple cloud as a service model, like as you know, bare metal as a service, platform as a service, software as a service model. So it's how you just kind of do this modeling, right? So I wanted to start with some of those TCO savings. As you can see, if you're running a VCF with 3-tier on a second generation, I wanted to spend a little bit of time here. Many of our customers are still running on Skylake, which is our Gen 1, and Cascade Lake, which is our Gen 2. This one, Gen 2. So you're talking about, we pick up this example of Gen 2. So as you all know, Gen 1 is end of life. Skylake is end of life. And if you're trying to deploy VMware will flag, hey, this platform is already end of life. So, and then Gen 2 will be end of life by end of this year, somewhere around that time frame. So what does it mean is you don't really have a real good AI story or any next gen application you want to run story, or you don't have any better security story. Those are all real old generations. And as you all know, many customers are refreshing their environment every 3 years, every 5 years, right? Some of them doing like every 1 year as well. It's just that intense, some of them, but majority of them doing like every 3 years. They want to refresh their environment. Every 5 years, they want to refresh their environment. So having said that, and they all comes with new challenge. Customer can get acquired by some other company, or you acquire some other company. It all comes with new challenge. They may be running it on a cloud. They may be looking for to run some AI workload. They want to run some next gen workloads like container application. Can the current infrastructure support? That's more important. So you want to know about that. So for you all to just to really check it out, like, hey, if I'm running like the older infrastructure of Intel Xeon, like pick up this example and compare it with our 5th gen. I think right now our current year is on the 6th gen. This example shows our 5th gen. Here is the savings that you're trying to get as compared to the older generation, also comparing to the public cloud spendings. As you know, public cloud, many of them, I know I used to work for HP, which I mentioned to you earlier. Dropbox is one of the big customer. They had 3 or 4 outages. You recently saw some of the outages in public cloud as well. When you have outages and you can't go into the DNS or you can't get to the site, and guess what? Dropbox, their users need 24/7 SLA. And if you have files in Dropbox, if you're accessing and you're trying to access your file, I'm like, oh man, I put this file here and I'm paying this much and I could not be able to access it. So there you go. So Dropbox decided I got so many outages, I can't really, keep this going, and I cannot honor my SLAs to my customer. So they moved away from public cloud to private cloud. So just to give an example, right? So there are many customers who are looking for, I want to have better control, I want to have better SLA, I want to have better security, but I do want cloud-like interface or cloud-like ecosystem or operating model, right? So that's why everybody's moving towards private cloud. You probably must have heard it from VMware as well. The private cloud is the way to go. Okay. All right. And then you can see, I mean, this is a tool. It's available for you all, you as a customer, you as a partner or OEM. We have something tool called XPA, Xeon Processor Advisor tool, and VMware also has a tool called PCMO. In fact, we are running some campaign with VMware as well. If you use that tool, you get some accelerated benefit as well. Like when I say accelerator, you get some additional money to use the tool to do your assessment. Okay, so I will cover that a little bit over in end of my slide deck, but just to let you know, and this tool is already available. It's going to give you two outputs. One is output like how much savings you're going to get like this, and then also you're going to get some output like, hey, here are my old servers, here are my new servers, and here is the catalog of OEMs servers which are certified to run on VMware. Okay, so yes, yeah, I will provide that tools link for sure. All right. Here is the good data for you all. I think it's a perfect segue about the slide, right? Why people are repatriating the workload from public to private cloud. Hey, like security is one of them, compliance concerns, um, data intensive workload, high levels of integration with other systems. I mean, you can't integrate your systems with a high level, especially like, like some of our the accelerators, which I'm going to talk about later, the TDX, some of them are integrated with cloud instances, some of them are not, but most of them are done on a on-prem basis, right, on a physical server basis. So you can see for it, again, custom latency sensitive, mission critical, and some of them are picked up. I think I kind of highlighted the top things, right? 69% of the enterprises are considering repatriation from public cloud to private cloud. 35% already did. And as I said, Dropbox is one of them. There are many customers are looking for. In the government sector, as you know, they are looking for sovereign cloud. They don't want to expose they call air gap. You probably heard the term, not to connect with the internet so that you can avoid from the hackers and all those stuff and all. So um, minimizing all those things is all those the attacks and keeping that isolated is something majority of them are really looking for. So just to give a data point for this, okay? All right. I always tell this, the workload first approach. You need to buy a house based on how many of you're going to live in that home, right? So if you're a family of four, you're probably looking for, a 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom house, right? Similar to that, that's what I always say, like, what kind of workload you want to run? Based on the workload, you need to have the right infrastructure. I always say infrastructure matters. You want to get infrastructure based on what workloads you want to run. That's very key. Are you running computer intensive, memory intensive, IO intensive? Do you need AI workload support? Or do you need GPUs? How can I run AI workload on CPUs? Does my CPU have an accelerator that can support my workloads? Does it have all the softwares, the API, the tools that can achieve me all this high performance, increase efficiency, and also the total cost of ownership, right? So you got to know about this. And that's something I always been telling most of our customer, plan, and then execute. I know, I mean, it's not something you don't have time, but I think it will be good to at least know what you currently have, what you will be doing from now all the way to next 3 years or next 5 years, and then buy infrastructure based on that, because your investment needs to be protected for next 3 years, the next 5 years based on your refresh cycle. Okay? And that's something I always tell um, to pay attention, right? And then try to go from there. All right, let's get into like why we are better together. I kind of put it into like 5 buckets here on the left side. If you look at it, you're definitely looking for optimized performance, lower TCO, because TCO comes with server consolidation. There are inbuilt accelerator Intel has. There is secure edge to cloud infrastructure. You need security. Accelerating your workload with inbuilt accelerator, which I'll cover it. And then last but not least, it's the power saving, right? So with all those VCF platform support, with current VCF, I'm showing it 5.2 here. We do 5.2, which is ESXi 8.U3, right? And we also do 9 as well. look at this, all these middle things here like AMX, QAT, DLB, TDX, and SGX. These are the inbuilt accelerator Intel has. And this, don't get me wrong, I mean, I know you probably hearing it from others as well, but what Intel provides here, it's completely offered free. This is already inbuilt, and this has been integrated with VMware already. The AMX helps you to run your AI inferencing workload with Xeon CPU from Gen 4 onwards. So Xeon 4 onwards, if you're having a Gen 4 or Gen 5, now with Gen 6, AMX will be supported for all running your AI workloads. QAT, I'll cover QAT also later part. QAT, you can do compression, decompression. It helps for your Microsoft SQL Server backup. Because if you offload your SQL Server backup to our QAT engine, guess what? Your CPU cycle goes down. The QAT does all the work. Whatever freed up CPU, you can put additional work on top of it, which is quite useful, right? And then dynamic load balancer is something we do at the CPU level. And then these two technologies I'll talk about when we cover security. Intel Trusted Domain Extension does the VM level protection, and then Software Guard Extension does at the application level protection. These two are already integrated with VCF platform. And I'll tell you this, I mean, SGX, I know some of few customers use because it needs a code changes at the application level because it only protects at the application level. But this one is something many of our customers are interested because there's no code change you need to do. Whatever application you're running inside the VM will be protected with the TDX, and it gives you a VM level isolation. It's completely hardened, so it's completely protected. We call it like TE, running on a trusted execution environment. It's completely isolated. So with that, let's me go into the next slide. And here is the opportunity that you all can think through, right? So like I said, you can keep your hardware. If you say, hey, I don't have anything, I'm not going to do any further workloads, I'm not being acquired or acquiring any other company, I'm okay with my Gen 1 again. I'm just kind of kidding you, right? Nobody wants to keep their Gen 1 because Gen 1 is out of support. There is no AI acceleration as such. If you're trying to do AI workloads on a current generation with Gen 1 or Gen 2, forget it. It's got standard security. So you have two options. Either you can upgrade your hardware or you upgrade your software. Upgrading hardware comes with these benefits, and then software comes with benefits, right? But I think either of thinking what you do, you're still not going to get the best of the both worlds. I would do both, right? So you got to do both. If you're doing anyway, if you're having old generation of 6 or 7, something you're running on VMware, you probably want to get onto VCF 7.0, 9, I mean, yeah, so 9.0, not 7.0, my bad. And then Intel, you want to get into more towards like Xeon 6. So these are the benefits you're going to get. You're not only going to run your current workloads, what you currently have, but you can run additional workloads. Remember, I told you about those accelerators that you're going to use. That's going to free up even CPU further. So you're going to even consolidate more. So if you're running some 10 Gen 1 servers, you can, I mean, I'm just giving you like, you know, not an aggressive consolidation, like a normal consolidation. Let's say if you're replacing 10 servers with 2 Xeon 6 servers, it's a good ratio, right? Like 10 servers to like 2 servers. You know, heavy consolidation, you can do it. You know, or if you want to go a little not so aggressive, you can go 10 to 4 as well. Given that you want to give more room for your high availability, you can do that too. But I'm saying like you can go, the numbers can vary how much aggressive you want to go, depending on whether it's a what do you call? It's more like how critical workloads you want to run, or prod or non-prod kind of a workload, right? So if you're non-prod, you can go even further aggressive, like you can even further consolidate more. And then with all those VCF benefits you're trying to get as well. So this is something I always think through, like where you are and try to go do the exact thing that you want to do. Okay, this is one of the takeaway slide I always flash this out, especially when I do the VMUG face-to-face presentation. Think through this. I'm sure you will fall through one of these buckets for sure. If you're running some AI workloads, these are the use cases I listed out here. Data analytics. I'm sure most of our VMware customers are either running relational databases, Oracle, SQL, in memory like SAP, HANA, all those kind of in-memory database, Postgres, all those things and all, MongoDB, Redis, all those kind of database, big data analytics, data warehousing. I mean, it's all virtualized on VMware, right? And then any networking kind of a workload, storage kind of a workload, a high performance kind of a workload. Not all high performance workloads can be virtualized, right? There are few you cannot. You have to run it on a bare metal. But look at all those mappings I did. These are the Intel value add. Again, I'm keep on stressing that we're not only a chip company, we're also doing like accelerated CPU, accelerated chips, whatever you call. All this accelerated is already inbuilt into the chips. If you're running AI workload with this, you know, use cases, you can take advantage of this AMX. If you're running relational databases, like let me bring up this one here. SQL Server backup can be offloaded with the QAT engine, right? That's something you can take advantage. Crypto acceleration. As you all know, I don't know, you all using Avi load balancer or heard about this Avi load balancer product, which lets application level load balancing. We have integrated our Intel QAT with Avi load balancer. And what it does is it's going to increase your number of SSL transactions. With QAT, we have study. Let us know, or you can Google it, you can chat GPT, whatever you want, and you could still find it. If you don't, you know how to reach out to me. I will provide that information. But Avi load balancer, if you look at their release notes and look for the benefits, and in fact, I did some of those presentation in VM Explorer. So it's quite powerful. So I would highly take advantage of this. Okay. And no matter whatever you do, we do cover the confidential computing. As you know, confidential computing is basically you're protecting your data in use. That's more key. Today, like at rest, we have technologies, but in use, how are you going to protect? So these are two technologies I talked about earlier, right? The SCF and TDX, and these are the Intel value where it has already been integrated with BCUs. All right, let's get into like how do I know about these? So I mean, some of you all know about this. I still want to point this out. If you're looking for upgrading your older hardware to newer hardware and you want to know, hey, what are the OEM certified hardware for Intel Xeon current generation, this is the site you want to go. It's called Broadcom Compatibility Guide, BCG, as known as VCG, you know, VMware Compatibility Guide. That's how it was. Now then it's called rename because of the Broadcom takeover. And you can go look for, hey, show me the Xeon current version with all ESXi 9 and 80U3 supported. And it's going to list out all the OEM servers. So make sure before you refresh it, you want to check this out, this site first. Okay. You're probably wondering, Kanan, you keep talking about all the values, the accelerators, the benefits, all great, but what about the performance? How does the performance compare to the older generation? How about my VMmark score? How does it fare? How do I know this is going to work? Again, there are two things you can do, right? One, you can use the VMmark score and at least see the baseline, how much of performance gain you're going to get. Other thing is you can also get the performance by doing a POC by yourself. Okay, so POC is something will be ideal if you want to do that. Again, it's gonna spend some time, but at least gives you the exact comparison how much of benefits you're gonna get with us and also with competition as well. All right, so you can do that. That actually will get you, as I said, will get you the exact comparison, exact consolidation, exact performance quants that you're going to get. But we did cover with one of our OEMs, and then we did some earlier generation with a newer generation. We compared it with VMware score. So just check. We got about 34% increase from gen over gen. Oh yeah, there was a question about our competition comparing. So I know we cannot talk about it in the public here, but we do have information we can do, or you can do POC by yourself. Just let us know. I think Peter was asking this question. Peter, feel free to, Peter, yeah. So send me an email, kanan.money at intel.com. I'll happy to provide this information. Yes, it all depends, like what kind of workload, how much of course you want to go. As you know, no, the more cores you go, as your application can scale that much of course. There is a sweet spot always for application, which how many of course it's going to scale. So you want to scale up to a level and then scale out. And plus, the more you scale up, you're going to run into your HA slot. So you're going to have a bigger server. You're going to better have another bigger server for you to create an HA slot. So if the server goes down, you need to have that big of server for your VMs to come up. So carefully plan on it, because that's how I always say it. So let me know. I'm happy to provide those information. But I think if you're sticking with Xeon, Intel, it's a homogeneous. Going from Xeon to Xeon is much easier than going to a Xeon to a different architecture. It's pretty painful, I'm telling you. Okay, another data point for SAP HANA. This one we covered. I'm showing it for 4th gen, but we do have 6th gen will be published. In fact, it was published. I did not update this slide, but you see this SAP. Oh, I did update it. SAP support note. If you look at 3372.365, Xeon 6 has already been published there. Take a look into it. As you know, SAP is one of those leading virtualized databases, HANA, on VMware. There are still SAP legacy systems running with SQL Server and Oracle, or virtualized on VMware as well. There are still customers running on it, and they've not gone to their SAP cloud yet, and you're probably reading that, but still they are efficient, and they can get all the advantages what this Intel and VMware platform can provide to them. All right, and this is another good takeaway slide, I would say, about the roadmap. This actually keeps my job going on with the Intel. This is exactly what I do. Like, why Intel and VMware together. And as you know, the AMX is good for your inferencing, distributed training, deep learning. And this feature we have been enabling from 8.0 onwards. QAT I mentioned before, crypto, compressed file, database backup. We've been enabling them from 7.0 onwards. CXL, that's the next one, the Compute Express links. As you all know, our Optane product got sunsetted. The next thing is all going to be CXL, type 1 to type 3 devices. We've been supporting that with VMware. The CXL will have support from 9.1 onwards. I did put X because, as you know, the product management kind of fluctuates depending on the timeline. So from as over, it's trending for 9.1. So if you're looking for any CXL support, talk to me. Flat memory board, the good thing, low memory cost, including DDR4, memory reuse for your retiring systems. We are supporting from target 9.x onwards, and this too actually heavily used on SAP world. So there is some benchmarking already going on. And then the SGX and TDX, I already covered it. I don't want to say it again. SGX, again, the software got extension. You get application level protection. We have been supporting from 7.0 onwards. And then TDX, we've been supporting from 9.0 onwards. TDX, at this point, you can't vMotion it or live migrate it. I know some of our business critical application customers, they don't want to live migrate their VM. They use application like SQL Server cluster. They don't live migrate. They just put SQL clustering always on clustering, and they turn off the DRS, right? They don't want the VM to frequently migrate back and forth, or SQL Server VMs. So for them, I don't think it's a big thing if you put TDX onto it, and you don't have to live migrate, and TDX does the entire VM level protection. And we are working on TDX live migration as well. As you know, we thought live migration has not much value, but we will be doing live migration during 9.1 or 9.2 onward. So just for your data point here, okay? All right, let's talk about, I know I covered mostly about some of those, the overall enterprise value. Let's talk about a little bit about AI, what we do with VMware. I know you all thinking about Oh, what's AI? I don't know what AI our company does. Oh, I'm already doing some AI development. Here's the model we are trying to train, or here's the model we want to run. It's already is it optimized on Xeon? Do I need CPU or do I need GPU? So you're having all kind of questions. Oh, mine is a smaller model. Here's my average model. Here's my large model I want to run. Is it optimized, right? So you're having all those thoughts. Here are my use cases that I want to run, like natural language processing or price prediction, fraud detection, code gen. You all heard developers are letting it go. Hey, I'm shrinking my developer workforce because I can do everything with code generation. Well, again, one could argue, let's not go into that debate. But I think there are code generation bots that will do the code generation for certain things, right? If you have step 1 to step 10, you can do it. Chatbot assistants and LLMs, large language modeling, or SLMs as well. So these things can be done, and we have a consortium called OPA, Open Platform for Enterprise AI. Intel and VMware, it's part of one of those Linux community. We are big premium member there, and so does VMware. So we all contribute for that. What it is whatever the models, trained models, it's already there, optimized to run on VM. All you have to do is take that model and deploy it on our Intel stack here. So today we have support any scale and Hugging Face along with its Intel AI suite here, right? You can run data analytics, deep Gen AI, deep learning, and also the classic EML kind of thing. If you're doing a data pipeline, you can do it with our Intel platform. And with our own API, it's just, program and optimize ones. It can run on any of your Xeon platforms. Okay, so that's the kind of a key here. And then this cloud foundation is kind of everything sits on top of VMware Cloud Foundation with all the benefits that VMware Cloud Foundation brings. I don't have to tell you about all those benefits. You all know, but all those things you're going to get on top of it. And then here are the Intel CPU, which is built in actually AMX I mentioned, right? There are certain workloads you can run on a CPU with AMX. And we also announced something called an AI accelerator, hardware accelerator called Intel Gaudi. I'll cover that, what it means. It's a hardware accelerator, which is actually sits on board, as well as it's also having a PCIe card as well. So we announced that like the last VM Explorer, and then these are the OEMs currently we are working, as you all know. So that's the overall AI stack for our enterprise AI. So feel free to let me know if you need additional details. We are actually working with VMware, in fact, to do more like engineered systems for this. I'm just only giving you a teaser right now, but if you're interested, we can talk about more about it. So this is another interesting thing, right? And I keep talking about this many times. Like, in fact, Chris Wolf, in many of his keynotes, he talks about it. So does Paul Turner in his keynote as well. He must have mentioned some of them. But there's a perception, right? Hey, if it's a AI workload, I need GPU. Well, you don't. Again, don't get me wrong. You do need GPU for certain things, but here's what you see it in this slide. GPUs, as you know, it's costly, it's power hungry, it comes with price. You know, and probably you may need some additional skills. But you really need to really see, does your workload or the work you want to do with AI, with the AI use cases, need a GPU? So if your performance is good enough, especially use cases like inferencing, if you're running like between 15 to 20 billion parameters for LLM, you could be doing with CPU, with AMX. In fact, with our Xeon 6, we can go up to 60 billion. So you can do that. But I'm being very conservative. I've just put like the lower number. So what it tells you, like if you're running a smaller or a average model, you really don't need a CPU. Okay, like I said, if you need low latency and immediate responses, a larger model, and then your response is critical, then yeah, go for it. Go for it with GPUs. And don't get me wrong, we do have a GPU roadmap as well with VMware. We do work with NVIDIA. You've probably seen some of the announcement we did earlier as well. That's in the roadmap. But we will tell our customers when to use GPU versus when to use GPU. Okay, so that's very key. So you want to keep your costs down. Start with CPU and the accelerator inbuilt, and then go with GPUs. Okay. All right. Well, I said this, but where is the data? Like, here is the data. I mean, I know you can Google this IDC white paper. In fact, I did blog this as well. But take a look. This IDC study, especially we did, look at this. Because when developing a smallest AI models, what processor or core processor did your organization use? Majority of them chose like AI accelerated CPUs only. So that's exactly what Intel's value is, right? So we have all this inbuilt accelerator, which is already there in the CPU or processor. And then you're offloading your AI inferencing workload to take advantage of this AMX. So that way you don't really need a GPU to do this kind of for a smaller and average model. You also did for average models, so we kind of came up with like they all kind of preferring using an accelerated CPU. So this study at least can help you out to back up the one I've sent right now, and plus you can also think through it like why people are choosing this. Okay, this is one of the things we announced it with. Okay, we got time here, so a few more minutes. Let me quickly cover this. The Intel Gaudi 3 accelerator is actually an inbuilt on the motherboard. We launched it with Dell. A few other OEMs, we are already having that shipping as well. And then we also have a PCIe card accelerator as well. So it's got like each card will support up to 8 Gaudi interfaces. So if you're doing one VM, at this point, it's not virtualized. So you can do one VM to multiple core or one VM to each core. So if you do one VM, 8 VMs to 8 individual cards can be connected, and it's only passed through right now. And guess what? It's going to really do a good performance. In fact, we have good performance studies, benchmarking compared to the competition, compared to the use cases, what you want to do. Take advantage of it. We have released the drivers. In fact, we have a couple of customers already using it. So take advantage of that, okay? And here's where it's got published, Intel Gaudi drivers. And then there's also compatibility guide, like I mentioned, all this thing all listed there. And here are the use cases and all those core capabilities to support the multi-models, and then LLM and RAG, all those will be supported there, okay? And like I said, you feel free to check this QR, which will lead to all this benchmark studies. We are comparing with our H100 and H200 and all. So take a look into it, like, how much of the cost you're trying to save here. So that's something for you to check it out, because I'm not only doing the talk, but I am also having the data to substantiate what I'm saying, right? So at least it gives you a perspective or baseline what this combination of the solution can get you, okay? All right, I'll quickly cover really quick. I think we may have time, but hopefully this should help. This should be much quicker. This two technology, I already talked about it. So you all know about it. Like I said, at the app level isolation, you get the software guard extension. You get the VM level isolation is where you're trying to get the entire protection, right? Like from the VM admin, the guest OS application, everything will be supported. There is no code changes here. Here, you've got to do some code changes. And there are some use cases we have done with federated learning, like the multi-party with all this all this enclave in a single, perimeter. It's completely protected. It's completely isolated. So you probably want to take advantage of this TDX. And here's the tool output. I know somebody asked about the tools link. I will provide that link. Or if you go to this QR code, you can take a look at this QR code that will lead to that tool. And if you're moving away from first generation to fourth generation or first to sixth generation, these are the benefits you're going to get. Second to fifth, here are the benefits you're going to get, like how much of TCO, the number of servers you're going to save. and all the break even, the power savings and all. Like I said, it gives you two output. One, this output like this, which actually used for decision makers. The other output it will give is like all this PDF list. It will say, here are your source servers, here are your power consumption, here are your destination servers, and all the OEM catalog for you to pick an order. Okay. So here's my key takeaways, right? I know I covered a lot. Some of you all, if you know exactly what you're trying to do, at least this will be helpful to you all. But if you're trying to see like, hey, I need more time to check it out, I don't blame you. So check it out, read through it. Again, I will say I'm happy to help out whichever journey you are for your data center modernization. Talk to me or talk to any of our VMware friends. We are actually working jointly, as you all know. We are doing joint value props and joint architecture sessions. Happy to help. And then I just want to make sure that Intel is your preferred platform for your modernization and also for AI needs. So happy to help out. Like I said, talk to have one-on-one conversation if you're not already having it. Yes, we will have a PDF copy presentation available to you all as part of this. If you don't get it, Neil, reach out to me. I will send you the PDF copy to you for sure. So yeah, and then this is one is actually if you're doing a PCMO assessment and if you're an OEM or a partner, we are offering some incentives here. It's kind of a flash, but I actually did some of them mostly for those audience. But if you are one of them, take advantage of it. Here are the resources you can take. There's a blogs. There are some assets. There are the tools. I think I know somebody asked about the tools. Here's the Region Process Advisor. There's an optimization assistant, the OPMO tool, which I mentioned. So this tool link is done by VMware, jointly contributed by Intel as well. So take a look into it. In fact, we blogged it jointly as well. And here is my contact, kanan.money@intel.com. With that, I know we are kind of around like 40 minutes timeline, more than that, 3 minutes, but thank you all for your time. Let me see what questions I can address here. But hope you all found useful. And I'm really excited to talk to you all. Let me see what questions I have here. So there was some questions about our competition. Any plans for Intel to counter that? Yeah, so we do have some of those informations that we can share with you all through our account or through our CNDA or NDA. Please reach out to me to this email address. You know, I will talk to you like in a one-on-one discussion. What you need. Most of the time, we can definitely get through with what you currently have and what are the current SKUs what we have. But if you need any special SKUs about higher clock speed, let me talk to me. Happy to provide that. The URL, okay, I think I already have it in my slide deck. Okay, I think those are the questions so far. Okay, I'm glad you all found this useful. Hey, as I said, I'm one of you guys. Include me in any of your discussion. As I said, I do this with passion. You know, I came from VMware background, as you all know. So happy to help out. And then we will make sure this presentation is available to you all. Okay. Thank you all for your time. And I'll stay on for a few minutes for any questions. But otherwise, thank you again. Have a great day all. Okay.